This one's pure chaos. Shedeur Sanders just got roasted on live TV, and not by some rival coach or angry fan behind a keyboard. Nope. The hit came from none other than quarterback Dillon Gabriel, who apparently decided national television was the perfect stage for his stand-up debut. And let's just say, the jokes flopped harder than a canceled reality show. Fans were stunned. Shedeur's loyal army instantly hit the comment section. And now Dillon's name is trending for all the wrong reasons. So picture this. Dillon Gabriel wakes up, stretches, checks his phone, and decides, yeah, I'm going to roast Shedeur Sanders on live TV today. Not in a team meeting, not in a private conversation, and definitely not through some anonymous burner account. Nope. He went full send, national audience, HD cameras, and a smirk like he thought he was untouchable. Very interesting comments. He said there are entertainers and there are competitors, and my job is to compete, right? He tried to clarify later at the presser, saying he meant the media are the entertainers and he's a competitor, but the damage was done. Everybody knows what he meant. And you know why? Remember at Oregon what the head coach said when they played Colorado, right? Yeah. Who was the quarterback? That's not confidence. That's career sabotage with a smile. And if there's one fan base you never ever disrespect, it's Shedeur's. These folks defend him like he's football royalty mixed with a pop icon. Dillon walked into that moment like a man holding a spark in a fireworks factory, and the explosion was instant. Now, don't get it twisted. Dillon Gabriel's not some scrub. He's got real skills, heart, and hustle, but talent doesn't protect you from bad decisions. And what he pulled on live TV, that was a Hall of Fame bad call. It's the kind of move that makes people question whether he's trying to play quarterback or audition for Who Wants to Lose a Fan Base. Shedeur Sanders isn't just another player. He's a movement, a headline, a brand that packs stadiums. The man could roll up late, stretch once, flash that calm grin, and still steal every camera shot while Dillon's out there sweating for attention, trying to challenge Shedeur in front of millions. There's entertainers, there's competitors. We're entertainers, we're journalists. But what he said, I guess you could what do you think about that? What's your reaction to his comments there? I was watching this game live, and I watched that interview live, and I watched what he said. Now, here I am coloring in all of the context for you guys. When he was being interviewed, you could tell he was nervous and kind of didn't want to be there. He was kind of want to get back to the sideline and watch the game. And so that question followed up when he was giving shorter answers. So when he said that, I felt like he was directly talking to Kingala and saying, you guys are entertainers. That's like walking into Gordon Ramsay's kitchen with a cup of instant noodles and saying, let's cook. Absolute madness. The funniest part isn't even what Dillon said. It's what happened after. Within minutes, Twitter, sorry X, turned into a digital war zone. Shedeur's fans morphed into FBI agents, meme creators, and expert investigators all at once. They were pulling clips, screenshots, and facial expressions faster than Dillon could even take a sip of his Gatorade. Every second of his reaction was captured, turned into a GIF, and blasted across the internet like wildfire. Forget trending for touchdowns. This man was trending because everyone wanted to pinpoint the exact frame where regret hit his soul like a linebacker. Gabriel plays a half of football and then throws an absolute shot at Shedeur Sanders. 13 of 18, 143, one pick six, mind you, and he comes back to the podium sideline interview and says this. And then there's what people call the Sanders effect. It's real and it's brutal. Every single person who tries to come at Shedeur ends up regretting it fast. History doesn't lie. Trash talkers either end up apologizing on camera, pretending they were just joking, or sitting on the bench while Shedeur quietly throws another 300 yards like it's just another Saturday. It's not even a rivalry anymore. It's a pattern. Going after Shedeur is like challenging the entire internet to a fight. You don't win, you just become a meme. And Dillon Gabriel, he didn't just throw shade, he threw his entire rep into a blender and hit liquefy, taking a shot at Shedeur. You think so? When have we ever thought about the media, those beat writers as entertainers? We've heard his coach, he was on the team when he said they're celebs. Wait, but you can't tie him and his coach together as if they have the same mind, as if they're one. You name the time you've ever heard someone say, there are entertainers and there are competitors, and I'm here to compete. Tell me the time. Right, okay? Listen, let's say he's taking a shot at Shedeur, right? At what point has he been an entertainer? He's a football player as well, but we've heard people say that's what he's... Now, picture being Dillon's coach. You've spent weeks preaching discipline, focus, professionalism, and then your quarterback goes rogue on national TV like he's auditioning for a roast show that never got renewed. If you're that coach, you're not just angry, you're questioning your career choices. Every press conference now is going to start with the same painful question. So, coach, how's Dillon holding up after the Shedeur situation? And all you can do is smile through the pain and pretend it's fine. Meanwhile, Shedeur, he doesn't have to lift a finger. That's the ultimate flex. He can post one photo, maybe a smirk, maybe a cryptic quote, and boom, the internet explodes. He knows the power of silence. Because when you're that guy, you don't chase beef. Beef comes running straight to your doorstep. Gabriel out here leaking. And this is a soap opera to the fullest. Even if Shedeur Sanders wasn't a star superstar wherever he is, cause he is certainly box office, even if he wasn't that, I still think Dillon Gabriel be like, oh, they drafted this dude behind me. I ain't gonna love this dude. I ain't got love for him because you're... And right now, Dillon Gabriel is sitting front row, marinating in the consequences of his own bad jokes. And here's the real kicker. Dillon's insult wasn't even clever. Like, if you're going to risk your career on live TV, at least make it count. Throw in some wit, a little spark, something. Give the crowd that, okay, that was wild but kind of funny reaction. Instead, what we got was the verbal equivalent of a wet sandwich. Soggy, flavorless, and instantly regrettable. Even the cameraman looked like he wanted to clock out early. If you're going to roast yourself in front of millions, at least drop a line worth remembering. But nope, Dillon served up plain bread with no sauce and called it confidence. Now, let's zoom out and talk about why this whole thing blew up like it did. The Shedeur Sanders effect. It's not hype, it's a phenomenon. Whenever Shedeur hits the field, ratings skyrocket like he's the love child of the NFL and Netflix. Stadiums sell out, cameras chase his every move, and highlight reels loop non-stop across ESPN like it's Shedeur TV. The man's a walking headline. Meanwhile, Dillon G, bless him, if I'm Shedeur, I'm like, duck, direct shot at Shedeur. And I don't know Dillon Gabriel, but I know the dynamics in which he's dealing with. I've told you guys countless times. I mean, teammates I've had, and whether it was me in that position or other teammates, where you had a love-hate relationship with, doesn't pull that kind of gravity. His jab wasn't just aimed at Shedeur, it was aimed at the orbit of fame itself, and you can't insult the sun and expect people to cheer for the flashlight. That's why the internet went nuclear. Shedeur's star power doesn't just shine, it burns anyone who stands too close. And now Dillon's got a new playbook, damage control. His PR team is probably pacing the floor, sweating like they just ran suicides in August heat. They're typing drafts, crafting apologies, and maybe even planning a puppy photo shoot to make him look wholesome again. Anything to slow down the roast. But let's be real, once the internet gets hold of you, there's no mercy. The memes are legendary already. People are photoshopping Dillon at the kids' table while Shedeur dines with icons. Others are remixing his failed insult into TikTok audios, turning his blunder into a viral sound. He didn't just mess up, he dived face first into the internet's creativity blender. And now every corner of social media is serving up a fresh plate of his mistake. Here's a litmus test. You ever been on a team? Go grab that team photo right now. How many of those guys can you name? Go. Not all of them for sure. 50% most people can't. It's because we're not all connected, even though we're all a part of the same thing. So Dillon Gabriel is connected to the Cleveland Browns because he got drafted 3rd round, excited for his opportunity and trying to make the squad. Hours later, they draft another guy who has now taken not only Cleveland, but the whole football world by storm. And now every time Dillon Gabriel hears his name, he hears Shedeur. The man wanted attention. Oh, he got it. And honestly, you almost feel bad for the guy. Almost. But then reality hits. This is the same Dillon Gabriel who delivered that insult sober and on purpose. No slip up, no misquote, no caught off guard moment. This was a choice made with full awareness and bright studio lights. And choices come with consequences. His QBR might be dipping, but his meme rating is sky high. Meanwhile, every other quarterback in the league is probably sitting back, sipping their sports drinks, thankful that for once, they're not the main character in the chaos, because nothing brings football fans together like watching one player light his own career on fire trying to roast a superstar. But let's be clear, this isn't just football gossip anymore. This is full-blown pop culture. Shedeur Sanders has transcended the game. His name hits everywhere. Dillon's insult didn't stay in the sports world. It went viral across entertainment blogs, meme pages, even late-night comedy shows. What was meant to tear Shedeur down ended up turning him into an even bigger icon. He's saying there's entertainers, meaning those of us in the media, or those that are criticizing, and he's a competitor, and in this context, he's not listening to the noise. Is that what you're trying to translate? Because I'm hearing a small jab there at Shedeur as being an entertainer with the top watch, and everything like that and everything. That's not a diss, that's free marketing in HD. So, what happens now? Dillon Gabriel is going to do his best to focus, play, and rack up touchdowns. But every time he scores, someone in the stands will yell, "Hey, aren't you the guy Shedeur humbled?" Fans will wave signs. Opponents will whisper it in his ear. And commentators won't let it die. Every snap will carry the weight of one bad decision replayed on loop. And Shedeur, he doesn't need to say a word. He'll keep stacking highlights, building his empire, and acting like Dillon doesn't even exist. That's the ultimate revenge. Silence with style. Dillon basically gave him free publicity, and Shedeur is too busy winning to even say thanks. It's like Dillon handed his rival a sword, and Shedeur just hung it on the wall as decoration. This wasn't bad timing. It was catastrophic judgment. The man didn't just poke the bear. He moved into its cave, pitched a tent, and started singing lullabies. And let's be real, the bear Dillon decided to poke, that's none other than Shedeur Sanders himself. His fan base isn't just big, it's an army. They're louder, faster, and way more relentless than Dillon Gabriel could have ever prepared for. If you want to survive in college football, rule number 1 is simple. You don't insult Shedeur Sanders on live television. You shake his hand, praise his shoes, maybe compliment his post-game fit, and pray the cameras don't catch you blinking too aggressively in his direction. Dillon Gabriel wanted a viral moment, and congratulations, he got one. Just not the kind that earns you endorsements. You'd think he'd have learned from the long list of people who tried this before. Talking trash about Shedeur has become a full-blown occupational hazard. There's enough evidence at this point to make a Netflix docuseries titled How Not to Talk About Shedeur Sanders. Players, coaches, analysts, they've all taken shots and every single one ended up backpedaling faster than a corner trying to catch Tyreek Hill. But nope, Dillon still walked onto that set like he was invincible. Mic hot, brain cold, and confidence through the roof. He actually thought, yeah, today's the day I test Shedeur Nation. Spoiler. And there's competitors and I understand that, but my job is to compete. I'm telling you right now, Shedeur Sanders is living Cleveland Rocks rent-free in the noggin of the Van Wilder of this sport. You already have justifiers. Roberto Shenanigans saying the pick 6 wasn't on Dillon Gabriel. Oh, you are sorely mistaken, my friend. Here's a guy that's threatened of Sanders, worried about not making the team, and certainly not QB1. Shedeur Nation does not forgive, and it definitely doesn't forget. They don't take prisoners, they take screenshots. Within hours, Twitter turned into a courtroom and Dillon was the defendant. Fans dug up old stats, bad plays, awkward photos, even high school interviews. One person even dropped a Pop Warner clip and wrote, "He's been mid since 2009. The commitment was unreal. Dillon didn't just get roasted, he got researched. What he thought was a spicy hot take turned into a full-scale internet excavation. And the memes? Ruthless. Shedeur fans turned his quote into punchlines, reaction gifs, and TikTok edits faster than ESPN could even air the replay. Overnight, Dillon went from college quarterback to main character of the internet's favorite soap opera. He wanted fame, and he got it, but not the kind you can brag about at press conferences. Because now every time his name trends, it's not about stats. It's about the day he challenged Shedeur Sanders and accidentally made history for all the wrong reasons. At this rate, Dillon's entire legacy might end up as a footnote under Shedeur Sanders' Wikipedia page. Imagine his grandkids one day asking, "Grandpa, weren't you a quarterback?" And all he can do is sigh and say, "Yeah, but mostly I was the cautionary tale." That's wild. And the worst part, the timing couldn't have been more disrespectful. Dillon didn't let his guard slip in a locker room or get exposed by a leaked text. No, he chose live national television, prime time, bright lights. He turned his own career into a Broadway show, and not in a good way. That's like robbing a bank in broad daylight, waving at the cameras, and then leaving your ID on the counter before walking out. The man didn't just open the door to criticism. Original question. Albert Greer says it's kind of unfortunate that the NFL's official account is tweeting this out out without the actual question, which was how Gabriel and the quarterbacks are trying to make sure the outside noise doesn't infiltrate what's going on internally. It wasn't a shot. He built a revolving door, rolled out a red carpet, and handed every critic a microphone. And here's where the irony hits. Shedeur didn't even have to say a single word. He didn't clap back, didn't post a response, didn't throw shade. His silence was the knockout punch. Social media ran the entire circus for him. That's the level Shedeur's on now. He's built such an empire that his fans fight his battles while he just sips water on the sideline, looking unbothered. It's power without effort. Meanwhile, Dillon's out here fumbling through interviews, trying to sound calm while his rep crumbles in real time. It's like bringing a water gun to a fire hydrant fight. You're drenched before you even pull the trigger. Practice used to be about reading defenses and perfecting throws. Now it's about dodging reporters asking, "So what did you think of your comments about Shedeur?" Every player's walking on eggshells. Every coach's blood pressure is spiking. And if frustration burned calories, that whole locker room would have abs now. And don't even get started on the boosters. They're livid. You don't mess with the man whose name sells tickets. Shedeur isn't just a quarterback. He's a brand, a movement, a full-blown economy. ESPN schedules segments around him. Nike scripts ads around him. Fans plan entire weekends just to watch him throw. And then there's Dillon, who turned himself into the sideshow nobody bought tickets for. Boosters don't pay millions for chaos. They pay for wins, touchdowns, and jerseys flying off shelves. Instead, they got a PR disaster disguised as a quarterback. Now we're officially in the damage control era. Dillon's camp is probably panicking, drafting apology posts like interns on caffeine. Expect long Instagram notes with too many ellipses like, "I just want to say to those I may have hurt." Expect carefully scripted interviews that sound like ChatGPT wrote them at 3:00 a.m. Expect teammates giving half-hearted support lines like, "He's misunderstood," or "It was taken out of context." Even though the context was literally him saying it loud and clear on live television, Dillon Gabriel gave him a little help. I'm not even speaking on Dillon Gabriel's on-field performance. I mean, I think Shedeur had a better on-field performance. This isn't just cleanup, it's crisis management with a side of humiliation. Dillon's defense right now, man, it's weaker than off-brand duct tape in a hurricane. He's trying to patch up a PR disaster that's already blown across the entire internet. Meanwhile, Shedeur's stock just skyrocketed again. He's managed to turn the whole situation into a flex. While Shedeur's getting sympathy, Dillon's getting meme D into oblivion. And the creativity online, pure gold. People are photoshopping Dillon at open mic night, holding a mic while the crowd boos. Others are comparing him to those movie characters who only exist to make the hero look better. And then there's the masterpiece. Dillon's face slapped onto the "This is fine" dog meme, calmly sipping coffee while his whole world burns behind him. He's not trending for plays anymore. He's trending as comedy fuel. But here's the part Dillon clearly didn't think through: recruitment politics. NFL scouts don't just look at stats and passing yards. They look at character, poise, and leadership. And what did Dillon just showcase to the entire country? The decision-making skills of a guy live tweeting his own downfall. Scouts are definitely taking notes, whispering things like, "Yeah, he can throw, but will he melt down the first time a mic's in his face?" That's not the kind of conversation you want in the scouting room, and honestly, it's sad because he wanted the spotlight. Well, mission accomplished. He's in the headlines, alright, just not the kind he dreamed of. Instead of Gabriel leads team to victory, it's Gabriel insults Sanders, gets torched. He wanted ESPN highlight reels. He got TMZ coverage instead. He wanted a Heisman buzz. He got a meme campaign. Meanwhile, Shedeur is just chilling, maybe texting friends, maybe laughing at the madness, maybe not even bothering to mention Dillon's name. That's the difference between being talked about and being the talk. Shedeur doesn't chase clout. Clout follows him around like a shadow. And Dillon, he just volunteered to be Exhibit A in Shedeur's Museum of Bad Decisions by Rivals. He basically handed over his dignity and said, "Here, put this next to the others." And now every player, every coach, every analyst across the board has been reminded of one golden rule: don't mess with Shedeur Sanders unless you're ready to trend for all the wrong reasons. Because this wasn't just a bad move, it was a full-blown case study in how to ruin your rep in record time. It's officially a survival guide now, and Dillon Gabriel just wrote the textbook so nobody else has to. All right, go ahead. Ooh, go ahead. Well, listen, hey, Chad, I don't want to do him like that. I want to give Dillon Gabriel a little grace, a little understanding, because I don't think a college kid coming in as a rookie in the NFL would take that kind of shot at a teammate that he's competing with for a job. I just don't see I don't see it. I see it as him when he says entertainers, in that aspect where he said is the media. I'm not sure how he views the media as the entertainers, but the way the media stirs the pot and creates the ruckus, and all he does is compete. I see it from that. Congratulations to him, because whether he likes it or not, he's become a living cautionary tale. Fans can't get enough of it either. They're eating this drama like it's their favorite series. This isn't sports anymore. It's reality TV and helmets. People are literally bringing popcorn to practice, watching this whole mess unfold like a live episode of chaos. Rumors about locker room tension are swirling. Reporters are sniffing around for drama. And honestly, Dillon is never escaping this one. The internet doesn't forget, ever. Fast forward 5 years from now, Dillon could be announcing his retirement, and the top comment's still going to read, "Remember when you insulted Shedeur on live TV?" He could run for office someday, and the campaign ads will just loop that one clip like it's a national scandal. There's no escape. This moment's tattooed on his career like a bad ex's name. The comedy writes itself. Dillon Gabriel, the quarterback who tried to clown Shedeur Sanders and ended up juggling his own reputation instead. The man didn't just start a mess. He turned a football rivalry into a circus and somehow became the clown car driver himself. And maybe, just maybe, that's his new legacy. Not as the leader, not as the franchise face, but as the guy who turned one reckless sentence into a full-blown cultural event. Dillon wanted the smoke, but forgot smoke always comes with fire. He thought throwing shade at Shedeur would make him look bold, but all it did was give him a full body cramp in front of millions. He thought he was starting a rivalry, but really he launched a worldwide roast session with himself as the main course. And Shedeur? Oh, he didn't have to do a thing. He just sat back, grinned, stacked another win, and let the world do all the talking for him. That's power. Dillon didn't just lose a moment. He lost the season, the storyline, and maybe even his shot at being remembered for anything other than this legendary blunder. Dillon Gabriel versus Shedeur Sanders wasn't a battle. It was a demolition derby. One man, one mic, and one brick wall labeled live TV. And when he hit it, the wall didn't break. Dillon did. So, what do you think about Dillon Gabriel's epic meltdown? Was this the biggest self-own in college football history? Drop your thoughts below. Hit that like button. Subscribe for more wild sports drama. And don't forget to share, because this story is one for the ages. See you on the next one.